What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another fantasy football video. This one's going to be about the rookie tight ends and why I personally have never drafted a rookie tight end. I know this year is slightly different in that it's one of the best, if not the best, rookie tight end classes we've ever seen. O.J. Howard, David Njoku, and Evan Ingram are really the only three you should be considering. I know there were other tight ends drafted, but those are the only ones that are fantasy relevant. Because remember, the only maybe 15 to 17 tight ends are even going to be drafted. So that's really all you should be looking at, and no other rookies fall into that range. But what I want to talk about is rookies in general. So this, if you guys haven't seen how I make this, go watch the video I did yesterday. If this is sometime in like June, July, August, go to one of the first videos I posted. I'll leave a link to it in the description, just to how you get all these stats. But this is the rookie tight end stats since the year 2000, every single year. So you see like Dwayne Allen here. There's going to be multiple Dwayne Allens because all of his years are in here. And I've sorted them by year. So there's only going to be one. I've taken out all of like 17 is the most the tight ends been in the league. I've sorted it by year one just so we can look at rookies. And you see here, I then sorted by receiving yards in that year. And only one rookie tight end has ever gone over 630 receiving yards. It was Jeremy Shockey, and he only had 894 and 2 touchdowns. So is that even I'm not going to say the best. I guess Gronk's would be the best at 546 and 10 touchdowns. But we're going to say the best yardage season ever. Was that even worth owning? Honestly, no. Like that, none of these years, maybe Gronk, maybe Jeremy Shockey's year. Look at all of these other years. Are any of them worth owning? So you think about, since the year 2000, the best season ever, best case scenario, was not worth owning or was barely worth owning. Why are 3 rookie tight ends being drafted right now? 3 of them. All 3 of them are being drafted right now. So you look at the second year, N1, this column would be what they did in the second year, and you get some that you could pick up. I mean, it's over 700 yards. I mean, it's 2 great seasons by Gronk and Graham, but this is even just the second year. I'm not even super high on targeting players in their second year, but it's extremely doable, and you can do it if the value is there. The value is not there in drafting rookies. These seasons just aren't worth it. It's a difficult position to learn straight out of college. I know some colleges run more of a pro-style offense than others, and I believe O.J. Howard, again, I'm not huge into college, but I believe O.J. Howard ran the most pro-style offense of the 3 of them. I could be completely wrong on that, but I believe he did. But like I'm going to talk about in a second, there are reasons against every single one of these guys, and I just think the hype train is just going to jack them up. Like, let's say one of them, and you pick that one, has the best season ever. Then essentially he returns value. The best case scenario for a lot of these guys is they will return value. I mean, you even sort by touchdowns, and like, look at this. There's only 6 of them that had more than 5 touchdowns. And look at all these yards. They're like 200. Joseph Fourier, I actually remember that. He had like 3 touchdowns in one game. 200 yards, 7 touchdowns. I don't want that. 400 yards, 8 touchdowns. I don't want that. So I don't want any of these seasons. So that's from a overall standpoint why I just don't draft rookies, no matter who they are, no matter how good they're going to be in the future, because all these guys I think could be studs in the future. 2 of them I like more than the other one, but again, I'm going to talk about all 3 of them in a second. But just keep in mind, I'm not talking about the future. I'm not talking about dynasty leagues. I'm talking about redraft for this year. None of these guys even have a chance at returning their value. Like, I just don't believe that they have a chance to return their value. So I'm going to switch over to the slides I have for each of these players, and you're just going to see exactly what I'm talking about. Quick point I want to make before I talk about the 3 rookie tight ends is that this whole video wasn't going to happen. It basically just happened because I saw some people in the chat were talking about the rookie tight ends, and I think it's going to be a highly debated topic over this offseason, and I wanted to make a video on my thoughts, personally how I stand on the subject. But I'm not going to be able to do this. Like, when I see questions in the private chat, I'm not going to be able to just, like, throw in a video because we have scheduled uploads for the entire summer. So, if you guys want to join the private chat and you have any questions ever, or you just want to talk about things, that is the best place to do it. I'm going to answer all of those questions first, then I'm going to go to YouTube if I have time to answer these questions. So, there'll be not a link in the description, but there'll just be what the chat is on Facebook in the description, and I'll put an annotation on the screen. It's Fantasy Football Advice Private Chat on Facebook. I will accept everyone who joins, at least for right now. This video is in May, so really anyone who joins in May, maybe early June. I just don't want it to get too many people into it, because it is going to be part of the paid subscription for the website that we have when you get the premium rankings and everything. And I don't want it to fill up too much. But if you're watching this video anytime, like probably 2 or 3 weeks after it's recorded and after it's uploaded, just go over to Facebook, get yourself into that group, and you can just, whenever you have a question, you can ask it. So now I'm going to talk about the 3 rookie tight ends. All right, so the first one we're going to talk about is O.J. Howard. And he's the guy that if you forced me to take one of these guys, like you said, you need to take one of these 3 rookies in a redraft league, I won't be doing it, but if you forced me to, it would be O.J. Howard, slightly ahead of Njoku, and Evan Ingram is undraftable in my opinion. But I'm going to be going through all of that. So O.J. Howard, you look at his metrics from the draft and just from Pro Football Focus's grades and just looking at him, he is a monster athlete, right? 97th percentile 40 time, 98th percentile speed score. He's got the agility score, the catch rate, his SparkX. Really all 3 of these guys have it, but I'm just showing you that in the future, these guys are going to be monsters, right? I'm not saying they're not athletic and everything. Look at these stats, and he's going to be good. Like, he's most comparable to Greg Olsen on playerprofiler.com. But here's the thing. He is a very, 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 very good run blocker. And I think that just tanks his fantasy value. Because Cameron Brate, although he is terrible, absolutely terrible. I do not believe Cameron Brate is good at all. I think all of his numbers last year were based on the fact that they had no one else to throw to. I mean, they just had no one else. Every single one of their wide receivers and tight ends just died last year. They were all hurt, and they had to throw to someone, so they threw to Brate. And I think that while Brate will receive options this year, you can't draft Brate either. I think they're just going to eat into each other's production, and the fact that O.J. Howard is so good at run blocking, and Brate stinks at run blocking, it's going to make Brate go out for more passes. Maybe not more passes overall, because maybe O.J. Howard just completely takes him over on the depth chart. But it's going to make a lot of plays where they say, okay, we're going to have Howard block and Brate go out there. And if he's only running, O.J. Howard I'm talking about, if he's only running 20 routes in a game, I mean, how many targets is he really going to see with Evans taking targets and receiving backs taking targets and Deshaun Jackson taking targets and Brate taking targets? What if he only gets 7 targets and maybe even 6 targets? I mean, that might be the ceiling. I mean, there's going to be games where he gets like 2 or 3 targets and it has like 1 or 2 catches. So I just don't think that the upside is there with him being such a good run blocker and them having other options in the receiving game. It's not like the Browns, where I'm going to talk about in a second. They really don't have anyone else to throw to. I just think that this year, I can't do it. He's going as tight end number 12 in the 10th round. I just can't do that. I mean, that is way, way too early for me. When, like I'm going to talk about this, after all these guys, you can get Hunter Henry after him. Like right now, Hunter Henry is going after him. You can get Ebron after him. Much prefer those guys over O.J. Howard. Next guy I'm going to talk about is Njoku, and if I'm pronouncing his last name wrong, I'm sorry. I think that's how you pronounce it, but I pronounce things wrong all the time, so if it's not Njoku, I apologize. But David Njoku, 29th overall by the Browns. Again, you look at his stats. He wasn't as fast as O.J. Howard, and he's not as fast as Evan Ingram, but he was a very elite pass catcher. I believe he may have been graded as the best pass catcher in college. I'm not positive about that, so don't quote me, but he was up there. And he's most comparable to Travis Kelce. He doesn't have that amazing run blocking talent that O.J. Howard has, but the Browns have a very good offensive line, probably top 3 in the league, so they might not have to have him run block. So if he's running more routes than OJ Howard, and he's at least definitely as good in the receiving game, and he's probably going to get more looks, because you think about it, Gary Barnidge is gone, Terrell Pryor is gone. They brought in Kenny Britt, but although I do believe Kenny Britt is a good receiver and has gotten a bad rap, although he is injury prone, he is a good receiver. I still think Terrell Pryor is better, so I think they downgraded there. But they really only have Britt and Coleman, and so he's going to get looks. The thing is, he's on the Browns, and we don't know that quarterback situation, how stable it's going to be throughout the year. We don't know how many points they're going to score. I mean, it's probably not going to be that many. And when you have to divvy it up, he's not the first guy that's going to be used in the red zone. I'm assuming. Again, we don't know. We haven't seen preseason yet. But I'm assuming he's not going to be the first option out of the gate. It's that he just has, I believe, more opportunity than OJ Howard, which is why I can see you drafting him ahead of OJ Howard. The floor is much lower. OJ Howard's floor is much higher than Njoku. But I believe Njoku has a higher ceiling. So if you're implementing a late round strategy around, I just want a guy who's got a massive ceiling, and I don't care if I cut him in week 3, go with Njoku, because you might cut him in week 3. That's essentially what I'm saying, because I don't know how much he's going to be used. I don't think it's a lot. Right now he's going as tight end 14, 11th round. That's more comfortable for me. I'm not taking OJ Howard in the 10th and probably not even the 11th, maybe the 12th if everyone's else that I like has been taken. But I wouldn't feel good about it. I really don't feel good about Njoku even in the 11th. Again, 12th is generally where I look to tight ends. So for me, the value isn't really there. I typically draft running backs and wide receivers for the first 10 rounds. Then in the 11th, I go quarterback. 12th, I go tight end. But I can flip-flop that if maybe Hunter Henry's available in the 11th. I love that value. But then I go on the last 2 rounds being defense and kicker. So 11th round is fine if that's the spot where you just want to take the flyer on him. I just think that the ceiling isn't there going against guys in their 2nd, 3rd, 4th year. I just think some of those other guys are much safer, in my opinion. Next guy, and the last guy we're talking about, is Evan Ingram, drafted 23rd overall by the Giants. Speed score, 100th percentile. Look at all the other stats. Again, they match up. These guys are going to be good in the future. You heard me say it 1,000 times. He is the best tight end that Eli Manning has ever had. And it's not even close. Eli Manning has not had elite tight ends. The problem is he goes into by far the worst position of any of the tight ends of these 3. Odell, Marshall, Shepard are all ahead of him in the passing game and will be ahead of him in the passing game. So he's 4th if you don't count Vereen. Vereen's going to get his. He's going to get receptions. I don't think the volume is even going to be possible for him in this first year to return any value, even if it's 14th round, which I'm not going to draft a tight end, and I don't advise you to either. I think the latest you take a tight end is the 12th, and it's the 11th or 12th, essentially. Why would you even go around ahead to draft a defense or draft a kicker? Just take a tight end in the 11th or 12th round. Like, it's just so simple. And in the future, he could be good. I mean, I think that his ceiling, as opposed to the other 2 we talked about, I prefer the other 2 more. Eli's getting towards the end of his career, and I'm just not sure who they're going to bring in, who's going to be the next guy. And Odell is going to get receptions and targets for the next however many years. I mean, the next 7-8 years, he's pretty secure in that role. Obviously, Marshall's going to be gone from the league even in a few years. We don't know how good Shepard is really going to be at this point in his career, but I don't think his outlook is as stable. So if I'm drafting like a dynasty league, it probably goes Howard, Njoku, then Ingram. If I'm drafting in a redraft league, I'm taking none of them. But if I had to, it would be Howard just for the safety factor. I know he's going to be involved in the offense at least somewhat. But if you just want to take a flyer late, you just want to go for the upside, I am fine with taking Njoku. So, who would I take instead of these guys? Because, I'm saying I don't want to draft any of these guys if I don't want to draft any of these guys and they're going in the late rounds and I'm taking a guy in the late round, who is it that I'm targeting? Well, right now, as of recording this, it's middle of May, so these things are going to change, and I personally guarantee that one of these guys will shoot up draft boards. Right now, it's Hunter Henry and Eric Ebron. The Lions didn't bring anyone in, as far as I'm concerned, that can compete with Ebron. I think his role is pretty much what it was last year, and he's going right now as tight end 13. I believe that puts him roughly at the 11th round. Again, he's going right with these other guys. I think that not only his floor is much safer, his ceiling is much higher. So I think he's a much better pick. And Hunter Henry is the steal of the draft right now. And it's amazing to me that he's going as tight end 16 in the 12th round. I mean, it's just baffling. Like, how could he be going behind these guys? I believe Ingram is going after him. I'm really not sure where Ingram's going. But it is behind Njoku and Howard. But the fact that Njoku and Howard are going ahead of Hunter Henry in his second year in a high-powered offense that likes to pass to the tight end with an aging Gates that he only needs, 1 touchdown or 2 touchdowns to pass the record. Once he gets that, I believe he's done, and the Hunter Henry show just takes over. So Hunter Henry right now, if you're for some reason doing drafts right now, and if for some reason Hunter Henry's stock doesn't rise, which I personally don't fathom, that definitely didn't work. I can't fathom his draft value not being somewhere in a top, like a tight end 1, so top 12. And honestly, I don't understand how he isn't being taken probably in the top 10 rounds. I think it's going to move up. I love him in the 12th. I'll take him in the 11th. And honestly, come August, it's possible that I take him in the 10th. I go away from my strategy of running back and wide receiver in the first 10 rounds, then quarterback, tight end, kind of switching it up between the 10th and the 11th, or the 11th and 12th. It is possible I reach into the 10th for Hunter Henry because I just believe that his ceiling is monstrous. And when you're looking at the tight end position, there's really no options. If you don't take Gronk in like the 3rd round, which I might make a video about, that is actually solid value, getting Gronk in the 3rd round. But if you don't get a stud like that, I mean, I'm not touching a tight end in like the 5th or 6th round, so I'm not touching Kelsey or Olsen. If you're not taking any of these guys, there's not that much of a drop-off between him and Hunter Henry. And if Hunter Henry is going in the 12th round, it's so much better value than these rookies. So that's what I'm going to end this video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. Subscribe if you are new. If you want to see a previous video we've done, you can click the link on the screen. If you want to check out our website where we've got rankings you can download, we've got articles, rankings you can just view directly on the site. You can check that out on the screen. And that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching.